Hi, Brill Workman here, CEO of Workman Success Systems, and welcome to another episode of the Faces of Real Estate. We have a tremendous guest with us today. We have Robin Gwaltney with RE/MAX in Minneapolis, Minnesota, or just on the southern end of Minneapolis. Robin, welcome, and thanks for being part of the Faces of Real Estate today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So, Robin, let's just get into it. I want to just learn a little bit about you and your team and the business that you're in. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Absolutely. So I am the team lead of the Gwaltney group, and we are a large team with our admin and our part-time agents. We have about 24 of us on our team, and we do a pretty good number of transactions, about 350 a year, just under $95 million worth, with an average sale price of $248,000.
That's a lot of served.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So you've got quite a, when I was looking at your bio and your resume and all the things you've done, you spent time at the Mayo Clinic. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, yes. I started working at the Mayo Clinic right out of college, and I worked in physical medicine and rehab for 20 years, and I loved it, and I was really proud to work for the Mayo Clinic. It's a great place, but I decided that I wanted something, this is a joke, so be ready for this, where I was in control of my time and I could work when I wanted to and when I didn't. I've never worked harder in my life, but I don't know, I love it. I've never regretted it.
Oh, you don't know how many times I've heard that. You know, I got into real estate so I could be my own boss and have free time.
Yeah. Yeah, so instead I work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, but it's all good. I love it.
You know what I've learned, Robin, and that is when you're good at the business, it just creates more opportunities. And so because you're good at it, more business comes, and because you have a heart, you care about these people, you want to make sure they're served. And now you've got this big team you're running, so you're all about serving your team members. And
it's a way of life, you know, it's not my job, it's my life. So it's all good. I love it.
And so how long have you had your team?
So I started real estate in 1999. I worked for Coldwell Banker for 15 years. I moved over to RE/MAX in 2014, January 1st of 2014, and that's when I started building a team. So before that, it was my husband and I, we worked together. And now, since 14, so in the last 6 years, we've gone from the 2 of us to the 24 of us.
Wow. That's been quite a transition. So are you still in production? Do you still personally list and sell?
I'm absolutely still in production, and I probably always will be. I love that part of it.
All right. So I think that's really cool. A lot of people think that when they start a team or they build a big team, that they're going to give up what they love the most. And that hasn't been the case for you.
No. And my team's always like, you don't have to work so hard. I'm like, but I do love it. And so I know I have a lot of really competent people on my team, and I could probably step back and just team lead. But like I said, Brill, it is what I love about the business, and I love the team lead part too, but I have a good balance. My children are now adults, and I don't have any little grandchildren that need me. So, the grandchildren that I have are far away, or, my biological kids haven't had kids yet. So I have nothing but time on my hands, and I work with my husband, so we don't mind that we're working all the time. We like it.
When I see you've been married 35 years, that's about the same as my wife and I. And I think about, first of all, it's hard to be married that many years. So that says something about you and Scott and your ability to stay married. But you have more than 2 kids. You have a whole bunch of kids that you foster. Tell me a little bit about your family.
Sure. So when Scott and I were first married, before we even had our own children, we were the youth directors at our church, and the pastor's wife was a social worker, so she talked us into becoming licensed foster parents, and we did that for teenagers. And then once we started having our own kids, we did that for about 4 or 5 years. And then once we started having our own kids, we decided that we needed to focus on our kids, and so we got out of the foster parenting and thought we were going to be out of that forever. And we had gotten nominated for Foster Parents of the Year, so there was a big article about us. And somebody at the Mayo Clinic saw it. I was working at Mayo Clinic at the time. I got a call, and he says, "Hey, Robin, this is Gary Marks calling from administration." And I'm like, oh, geez, as a supervisor at Mayo Clinic, you don't want to get a call from some random administrator. I thought, what'd I do? He said, "I saw the article about you and your husband, and I think that is just so awesome. And I was wondering if we could talk you into helping us out and coming into the Rochester Better Chance House, very temporary, we need you to come from April 1st until the end of the school year. And this was back in 1993. I was very familiar with the program because I had a friend who was a physical therapist in the same department with me, and he was actually a live-in tutor. So I knew what the program was, and it was a program much different than foster care. It was basically a scholarship to high school for inner city minority kids who were gifted and talented. But if they could get out of the inner city schools that they lived in, they would have a much better, brighter opportunity. So I said, oh, we could do that for a few months. Absolutely. No problem, without asking Scott. And he was like, oh, it all went well. So we moved in, and we took our little 1-year-old and 3-year-old with us, and we had 6 high school boys there. And then at the end of the school year, they all left to go home for the summer, and we were free to go back to our home or, whatever we wanted to do. And we decided that we wanted to stay and be there when the boys came back the next school year. So it was a 100% volunteer position that turned out to be, instead of a 3-month commitment, a 17-year stint.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I've got to ask, so as I listen to this, it sounds like you've had diversity in your family for many years.
Absolutely.
So with all the things going on in the world right now, are you glad to see the awareness that's happening, that people are becoming more aware of the inequalities that have existed?
Absolutely. But, and I mean, it's so nice to see that. I feel like there really is going to be some change, but far too late and far too little. And, hopefully things keep going in the same direction, but I cannot tell you how many nights I've cried myself to sleep lately. And it's been tough.
I have mixed race grandkids, and I want them to grow up in a world where there is no difference.
Exactly.
Celebrate their heritage and where they're from, because I think there's some great history there, but I want them to be treated the same.
And it doesn't seem like that much to ask, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, I love that you did that and you raised those kids. What an amazing thing that's been for you and your family. How did your kids respond to being part of that as they grew? Does that become part of who they are as well?
Oh, absolutely. So like I said, our kids were 1 and 3. Our oldest is a boy. So he was 3 then, he's 30 now. And our daughter was 1 then, and she's 28 now. So they do not remember life without a house full of big brothers, right? So when they moved in, we had these 2 babies and 6 high school boys that were a mix of all different nationalities, sizes, shapes, colors, so that was just what was normal to them. And the boys would live with us 4 years, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, and then they would graduate and go to college. Well, a lot of them ended up coming back to us in the summer because while they were in college, they would get internship opportunities at Mayo Clinic or at IBM. So some of them we got to have for 4 school years while in high school and 3 or 4 summers while in college. So, we spent not just a few months with these kids, they are our family. So now we have, 40 kids, 42 with our own, spread all across the United States. Some of them are married with children, some of them are still single. One of them is a pastor and was home last summer to marry our daughter, not last summer, gosh, she'll kill me, almost 3 years ago, to marry, there'll be 3 summers in August, to marry our daughter and her husband. So that was really awesome. And then all the other guys were home for the wedding. So our immediate family was 100 people at the wedding.
Wow. Yeah. Right now you wouldn't be able to hold the wedding.
No, I know.
The venues would let you in.
Exactly.
All right. So I think that's so cool. What a blessing it is, and what a legacy that you have created as a family. We can stop our interview.
We're lucky.
I just think it's amazing. And it's not the impact that you had on those kids. I can see, because you get emotional, it had a pretty tremendous impact on you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, to see where they're at today and how wonderful they are as fathers, as community leaders in their careers. Several of them have stayed in Rochester and the surrounding area. One of them is a social worker at the school, and the things that I've seen him do at the high school he works at just warms my heart. So, I mean, I'm super proud of these kids and where they've come, and really happy that we were able to play even a small little part of that.
I think a lot of people hear of Rochester and they think of Rochester, New York. It's kind of
Yeah.
famous for Kodak and all of those
Yeah.
things. Tell me a little bit about Rochester, Minnesota. What's that? What's your
Well,
community like?
yeah, Rochester, Minnesota is the home of the Mayo Clinic. And basically, that's what we are. I mean, it's 106,000 people in Rochester proper, and there's some small bedroom communities outlying, anywhere from 40 minutes out all directions that people live and still work at Mayo Clinic. I think Mayo Clinic has something like 60 some thousand employees in the Rochester location. So you can imagine every family has somebody that works at Mayo Clinic. So it's a
Yeah.
huge part.
So you said you're a white collar community that's highly educated and extremely generous. That's a very interesting definition or description of a community.
Yeah, that is how I see Rochester, because most people are health professionals, right? It's college educated for the most part. And I think that if you look at the per capita income in Rochester and the education level in Rochester, it's the highest of anywhere in the state. And the people that live here is very diverse because of Mayo Clinic, which I love. So for a city of 106,000, our diversity is pretty awesome. But people are so giving and so willing to give back to the community that if you find somebody that isn't involved in a nonprofit, it would be pretty difficult. I mean, it's a very generous community. And I always say to my team members, when people say, why are we so successful? How did we get to where we are? I say, we believe in our community. We give to our community. And I think it's as easy as if you give to the community that you live in, the community that you live in gives back. So I think it's that basic.
It's just a life principle, isn't it?
It really is.
All right. So tell me a little bit about your team giving and what you guys do as a team for your community.
So we usually like to adopt one or two nonprofits at a time. So I'll back up just a second. Rochester Better Chance, we stayed there, like I said, for 17 years. When our 1-year-old graduated from high school, I said, okay, this lady is done being a full-time mom to 8 kids at a time. So that's when we broke those ties. I still served as the board president for the next 3 years. And then after 20 years, I've moved on to other nonprofits, still support them financially, but physically I've moved on to other nonprofits. Right now, we're really big involved in the Jeremiah Project. And that is, do you have the Jeremiah Project where you live or not?
I don't know. Tell me more about it.
So it is helping women 2 generations at a time. So basically it's for single moms that have the desire, they have to, one of the rules is they have to be continuing their education. So they can live in these apartments and there's a daycare center, preschool right in the building. So it's all part of it. So the mom and the child or her children, she can only have no more than 2 children. And the oldest has to be 5 years or under. So the children get enrolled in the preschool part of it while mom is going on to some sort of tech school or college. So basically we're helping, 2 generations at a time while they're getting their feet on the ground, getting their education. And then once they're graduated from the program, graduated from their college or whatever they're attending, then they get out into the world and get an apartment, and their child is, steps ahead of the other kids, and so are they. So it's really awesome.
So that's really, first of all, I think it's really cool. And I love the concept of the 2 generations because you help one without helping the other, then the cycle tends to repeat itself. So
correct.
I don't know who thought of that, but I think I'm going to look more into it because I think it's a beautiful idea.
Yeah, it's really good. And so I love it because there's several ways we can help. Some of the team members literally will go over there and babysit kids while the moms have group sessions. Sometimes we'll go over and bring things for the moms, like on Easter, we all got together and made Easter baskets and delivered them so that and there were things in it for the moms and the kids. And there's just things like getting the apartments ready with bed sheets and towels and all the necessities. So there's just so many levels we can help with. We've helped line up part-time jobs through connections that we have. I actually got involved with the Jeremiah Project before it existed in Rochester because I was asked by the executive director, who I've served on other boards with, to help find an actual place for the building, secure the land, get the developers involved and all of that. So that was fun to be able to be involved from the ground up. And now the building is standing, and it's really an accomplishment. So I'm super excited about it.
I'm just kind of curious. So how do so that's the Jeremiah Project. What's the Knurl Hospitality House? What do they do?
So in Rochester, because of Mayo Clinic, there's a lot of hospitality houses. So like, whether it be the Ronald McDonald House or the Gift of Life House, if you're coming for a long time medical stay, right? A lot of times people don't have the means to stay in a hotel. It's very expensive. And sometimes it's not only just the expense, but they don't have any support. I know the Ronald McDonald House, that's everywhere. Gift of Life House is for transplant patients. The Knurl Hospitality House is if you have any neurological disorder whatsoever, then we have a house that you can stay for a very nominal fee. And then other people in the house also are there for the same reason. And so we have the connection to Mayo Clinic. Social workers know about us. They'll send people their way. So yeah, it's a great program as well.
And so what do you do to give back? What are the things you do? You talked a little bit about, with the Jeremiah Project, going in, setting up beds, with kids, doing Easter baskets.
Right.
Does the whole team get involved in all of these things?
Oh yeah. So, we always say, there's different things that you can do, but it's really important to me that if you're going to be a part of the Gwaltney group, you are going to buy into the community. And it's not like, oh, I'm going to bring somebody on the team and then say, now you have to start giving to the community. I bring people who give to the community on the team, so people who fit our culture. It's all about the culture. I'm not going to try to put a square peg into a round hole. Not everybody is as into the philanthropy as I am, but everybody on my team is, so it's really, I love to see what an impact we can make, no matter what it is. Sometimes it's something that we're not involved with at all, but I do a radio show every Saturday. So around the holidays, I'll say, if you guys know of anything that we can do. So we'll get a call from a church and say, would you guys be willing to adopt a family? And we'll all get together and we'll take, you get this, you get that, you guys do this, and we just pitch in. And so we do whatever we can whenever we have an opportunity to give to the community. We are 100% all about that.
All right. So there's a lot of people out there that are selling a lot fewer homes than you do, and they'll tell you that they don't have time. How do you find the time or make the time as a team?
I love that. I always say, if you want something done, ask a busy person. Let's face it, we're the ones who get things done. I do more in a day than a lot of people do in a week, and it's just the way I'm wired. I just go. And people say, oh, you're the Energizer Bunny, and it's like, I just fuel on that. I just honestly do.
I can totally feel that. Your energy is contagious. You make me want to go out and do something today different. I just, it comes through with such a great level of impact. And I know a lot of people watching this are going to feel that as well. I really appreciate all that you do. So I'd like to know the kind of impact that you see on your team as they give back. How has that brought you together? Do you have a lot of turnover on your team? What's the impact been?
Yeah, we have very little turnover on our team. Our team, do you know that I've never advertised for team members? I've never approached anyone and asked them to come and work on my team. My team, what happens is people have approached me. When I left Coldwell Banker, I had a few people say, oh my gosh, don't go, I want to come with you. So people came with me initially without any intention of starting a team. And then once we did that and people see us out in the community, I've had people call me from other companies saying, what does it take to get on your team? I'd like to come and be a part of what you guys have going on over there. And then team members have said, I've got a friend that wants to get into the business. And that's how we've grown. I mean, it has been very organic. And again, for us, the most important thing is about the culture. People say, how big do you want this team to get? I said, hey, I never even wanted a team. It was never part of the plan. So it has just happened and it works. So I feel like because we are a really closely connected team and we do all of these things together, have you heard of Clifton Strength Finder?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, it's like a disc.
It's sort of like that, but it's not a personality thing. It literally shows the DNA makeup of your brain. It really shows what your strengths are. It's very awesome. So we do that, and we have a professional that's really expert in that, and she comes in once a quarter, and we learn about how we can communicate with each other better and how we understand each other better. And we're just, I don't know, we have a really great culture. That's all I can say. We're really happy to be together and happy to work together and serve the community together.
Well, I promise you that's a result of intentional creation from the leadership. So you have a good culture because you want a good culture, and
It's so important.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. So what's next for you? What are your big plans going forward?
Well, we are, hence this lovely look today. We are in the process of opening a satellite office. And so I literally was there cleaning walls, cleaning floors when my alarm went off, going, oh, I have to run home quick and do this interview. And so when you said, oh yeah, this is what everybody's going to see, it's like, this is what you see is what you get. I'm excited. We're going to open this satellite office where we're going to have 6 agents working, and it's going to be right on the Minnesota-Wisconsin border. So between the southern part of Minnesota, and it's just going to be a new market for us. And it's a market where I grew up and currently own a home. And all of the people on our team grew up here. So we're homegrown. It'll be fun.
A homegrown team. I love that. I love that You're doing a second office.
It's a 2,500 population town with surrounding little towns. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I love that. All right. So last question. And that is, so for brokers or agents, people that want to make a difference and they don't know where to start, give me a starting point. How do you start if you want to
follow your passion? You have to follow your passion. I've never gotten involved with any kind of a nonprofit or any kind of an organization that I wasn't 100% passionate about. So I think that is the most important thing. I apologize. My Ring doorbell is going off in the background. Somebody just pulled past my driveway. Sorry about that. Anyway,
you shop online. It's Amazon.
I think it probably is. I think that when you are passionate about something, it comes so natural to be able to give, and it also is so rewarding. So for instance, the Knurl Hospitality House, I worked in physical therapy, right? And so I worked with people that had the neurological disorders. And then a few years ago, my father-in-law had ALS and died from that. So, I'm passionate about that. And as far as the Jeremiah Project, anytime I can help people who have had a disadvantage, and it's like, it's a hand up, right? Just like the boys that lived with us at the Rochester Better Chance House. They were bright, intelligent, motivated kids who just needed an opportunity to get out of the inner city, away from where the school systems were lousy. And because those things matter to me, it's so easy to give, because you get to reap the reward of, back to those boys, watching them grow up into awesome men, awesome dads, awesome community leaders. Watch these single moms go from being a struggling single mom to a college graduate with a bright young child, ready to take on the world. And to see these people be able to come to Mayo Clinic and stay somewhere where they can afford and have support at the house while they're going through their medical. Those kind of things matter to me. Super important.
I love that. So just to summarize, do what you're passionate about and start.
Absolutely. Do what you're passionate about and just do it.
Robin, on behalf of Workman Success Systems and the Faces of Real Estate, thanks for just being a giver. I wish you tremendous success as you continue to make a difference in the lives of all those people you touch, both on your team and in the communities you serve.
Thank you. I appreciate that.